Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. 3 minutes past the hour on this 18th day of October, Freedom and Fun Friday. And yes, we made it through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is finally here, the beginning of the weekend, baby. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building from one of the BLK, the Black Station, along with my brother from another mother. You see the empty chair, but he's there. You see the empty chair, but he's there. It's my Brother Fatim from the Open Lines Online and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in the building for this episode of hashtag Truth Be Told. Family, how you doing out there? We're broadcasting live on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. You can catch us on the channels at the following places. You can follow us on Instagram at the JDMS, on YouTube. We're at 100 BLK Media. You see him? There he is. There he is. He was getting it in. It's Brother Fatim. He was jamming, doing what he do. Good morning, Brother Fatim. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. Even though the Mets didn't win last night or the Yankees, but hey, it is what it is. Nope. Dang. Yankees came back, went ahead, but ninth inning, Cleveland Guardians came back, and then Dodgers just put their foot in the backside of the Mets yesterday at Citi Field. So the series in the Yankees American League Championship Series is 2-1 Yankees. And in the National League Championship Series, it's the Dodgers 3 and the Mets 1. Dodgers win the next game. They go on. The Mets have to pretty much run the board. So we'll see. But that's what sports is about, and that's what we do. So yeah. It's Friday, Freedom and Fun Friday. So let's go.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Click like and share. Click like and share. Click like and share. The days are dwindling down. Early voting starts today in the great state of Louisiana. So I infer that you get out and you go vote. You can go vote right now. Vote. Be exact. Polls open at 8:30. At 8:30. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, but when it turns 9:30 on the East Coast, 8:30 here. Polls are open and you can go vote. So let's make this first day of voting be a humongous day. Turn out, go vote, go vote. To be exact, as soon as I get off of here, I've got to get ready for work, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go vote and take care of a few other things. It is homecoming weekend at Southern University, better known as Grown Coming. Last night was the concert with Glorilla. Go, Grow. I ain't into that, but hey, the concert was packed. It was out.
What's that? Wait, what was her name?
I think it's Grow.
No, it's not Grow.
It's Glorilla.
I'm saying when you don't deal with the young, you don't know what's happening.
Well, I know. Hey, hold it. And this is the crazy thing. I should know this young lady because she is from my hometown. And there are family members who tell me, man, you know her people, you know her, because I did know Young Dolph and also knew the Graham family, which is, a lot of folks know Mr. Graham is Drake's daddy. So, but the Memphis folks, let me leave that alone. It is homecoming, better known as Grown Coming, at Southern University. Tonight is the Throwback Greek Show. It's going down tonight, y'all. It's the Throwback Greek Show and Step Show, and it's going to be off the chain. And tomorrow, of course, the homecoming parade, the festivities. Weather is beautiful here. It's quite chilly in the morning, but there is not a cloud in the sky, and the weather is beautiful. So, and I'm pretty sure it's about that way all over the place right now. To be exact, in the South, if we don't get some rain real soon, look like we're going to be in a drought. But that's
how the hell y'all gonna be in a drought? Y'all didn't have hurricanes and stuff. What the hell?
Hey,
why would
they're
I don't want no rain? I don't want no rain.
Yeah, hey. Well, they're saying if the rain don't come, it's going to be a drought. But of course, we're counting down the days to the election, and since January 6th was now known as the Day of Love, that January 6th is known as the Day of Love. I wonder, will November the 6th, the day after the election, known as the Day of Love Part 2? I'm just wondering.
Day of Love, January 6th.
Yeah, January 6th, Day of Love. That's what former President Donald Trump said it was.
I don't know who that is. So
Former president.
I can't give nobody credit. I don't know who is. So. Ain't getting my blood pressure up.
Right. I fully understand.
Me a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart, like I like my women. Brown sugar cinnamon.
Hey, man, come on now. That's what I'm talking about, Brother Fatine. Listen, all I want to do is encourage everybody to go out there and go vote. I see California in the building. My cousin Dion, big time actor Robert Dion doing this thing. I see you in the building, man. Good morning to you. Good morning, KC. Good morning, Michael Keefe. Just good morning to everybody out there. I see good morning to LaDavia. That is the Community B. I share her podcast often. Don't forget that Brother Fatine will be on Sunday with the Open Line Online on WBLS Facebook page. Definitely check that out. Him and his all-star, I say, cast of commentators that are on there giving you great information about what's going on in the tri-state area and across the world. It's the Open Line Online. The legacy of the late Bob Slade, M. May, and Bob Pickett continues and is carried on as the Open Line Online is on there, baby. And not only that, you can catch my brother on Tangy T. That's another great podcast. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. And speaking about my girl, Community B, LaDavia, you can catch her podcast. And let me see. And I'm going to take time out today and actually go. She gave me some great tea. Some great tea that was handmade with love. She's out there doing her thing. Man, check out her podcast. I'm going to start putting other folks' podcasts into the chat and let y'all know there's some great podcasts out there. Don't forget about my man, Sean P. and the Sean P. Experience. That brother is interviewing some of the top authors out there on the scene. And he's always showing love. And he comes in here once a month on the third Wednesday of every month. And we talk about Black authors, Black books, and Black books you need to go get and go read. What you still got that?
We forgot to promote something for Sean P. We did. Forgot. With Dr. Ian Smith.
Yeah, he came on this week. Go back, but you can go back. He did. He came on, and you can go back and rewatch that podcast. Great interview he had with Dr. Ian Smith, and you can check out. Like I said, Sean P. be having some great stuff. There's some great people out there with microphones, and I applaud all of them. All of them, I applaud.
I asked you to do something the other day, but we just got caught up in the heat of the conversation and stuff the other day. I resent it to you. I need you to play this. Jim Brown. I want to kick that. I really would like to kick the show off today. When you put out the right. Yeah, you said send it to your messenger. I just resent it again, but I don't send too much to your messenger, so you should see it out there.
Okay.
It was when it was on Tony Brown's journal. Tony Brown was another individual that had a Black platform. Very well done. He brought on scholars. I knew Tony Brown. We were all in that circle with him, May and Pickett. When I say that circle of information, Gil Noble, the late Gil Noble, all the brothers and sisters out there that were doing great work. And you had presented, we were talking the other day, and I just want folks to realize that we think things are new under the sun. Right. And you'll see that we were more on point in the past than we are now. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you to hear what Jim Brown, former NFL football player, he became a movie star doing Black cinema, but you need to hear what he had to say as a businessman, as just when Joe's ready. Let's go.
But what most of you don't know is I've worked for Black liberation all my life. In 1968, I had an organization called the Black Economic Union, which got a grant of over $1 million from the Ford Foundation. And it was totally Black control, Black MBAs from across the country. In fact, my executive vice president was a graduate of Harvard, magna cum laude, who left Corning Glass to come to Cleveland to deal with us. We went to Mississippi, adopted Marshall County. We started Magnificent Products, which was the first Black hairspray company. We managed Earth, Wind & Fire, the Friends of Distinction, started New Breed Industries. We started the first company in Maine about that handling ancillary rights to Muhammad Ali. You don't know these things. My existence and the reason you have seen me in such a light is because the government do not want a black man to tell you how to use your dollars.
Wow. Wow. You heard what he said. You heard what he said at the end. Did you hear what he said at the end? Wow.
So like I said, folks, you think that you ask these questions. So you ask this, let's slow this down for a minute. Let me get personal for a minute. You ask Fatin, why do I get so frustrated? Why do I get so angry? Why does seem like that my blood pressure rise? Because we were further ahead working together than we are now. We ask questions that I don't, to me, they're stupid. For me, they're stupid because we had a blueprint. We were moving in that direction, and then they put obstacles in front of us and we fell for the okie doke. So that's why I guess, and I know I should try to control it, but it's like, wake up, like Spike Lee did in School Days. Wake up, folks. And when we ask the same questions, why do we do this? Why we can't come together? I'm sitting here like, you guys are really wasting my time. And that's what frustrates me. And I'm like, we gotta be better. We gotta be better. We got to be better. And that's where I get so frustrated. So I just want you to understand where my frustration comes from, where I was a kid and around giants like this, sitting at their footsteps. And then some people say, well, damn, Fatin, you're heavy. I've been around much more heavier people than me, much more articulate than me. And this is where we at now. This is where what we're running for candidates now. This is how we run in this world. This is the okie doke that is passed on us. So that's why I guess I get frustrated. And I'm telling you, a lot of older people that know this, we tune out and we shut down. Just like you mentioned Dr. Claude Anderson. You got to listen to Dr. Claude Anderson, right, Powernomics, right, and Dr. Claude Anderson. We are so far behind. We have fell so far behind the 8 ball. It's pathetic, man. And then we ask elementary questions while we're in college.
So let me ask you this question, Brother Fatin. I'm just asking because I try to look at this and I understand your passion, and I feel sometimes very much the same way you do. Last night I had an awesome conversation with one of my children. And sometimes you have to remember that we have lived and seen some things that they haven't experienced. And so my question is, I understand the frustration, but how then do we pass on what we have learned and what we have experienced to the future generations? Because guess what? There's somebody probably right now that watched that or will go back and watch this podcast and they'll have to Google and say, who's Jim Brown? Because believe it or not, there are some Black young folks out there that don't know who Jim Brown is. I literally had a conversation with a young lady a few days ago who didn't know who Shirley Chisholm was. She said, who that? So that's my question. I understand our frustration because you're right. We're talking elementary, but we've lived, I've got 57 years on this planet. I've had 57 times around the sun. I pray I see 58 and many more. So how do we then take the best of what we've lived and experienced? Because for example, there was things my mom and dad introduced to me that some of that has left me. I was laughing because I have a reel to reel, and one of my dad's biggest things was he loved listening to jazz on the reel to reel. And I still have the reel to reel where I play some of those old jazz reel to reels that he has, and I was like, man, I forgot that artist. I forgot him. So many a times, how do we, and I'm asking how, or can you give a suggestion or one way? And even in the chat, how do we, because many of the younger folks don't know the struggle. They haven't experienced the struggle. And because they haven't had to go through the hard times, a lot of them, that's the reason why they're in the position they're in today. They see the product of the struggle. But because they haven't had to go through the struggle, they don't see the struggle as we see the struggle.
You start, you look at, you invest in the young. You don't waste time with the old. Because in the old, unfortunately, you got to tear down so many things that have built up that is so wrong that you invest in those that are seeking that knowledge, the young. There are a lot of brilliant people. There are a lot of knowledgeable people out here, and you have to do it family by family, community by community. You can't allow the schools to do it. You have to set up these type of centers that you want to do. You want to make a difference out here. Set up a center. Set up like my man, brother Larry Ham in New Jersey. They had a program on Saturdays that they taught African history, and young folks came to it because unfortunately a lot of grown folks it's you got to tear down a lot that they have been programmed with to build up. And that's sometimes that's just a waste of time unless they are looking to learn and say and understand to say, you know what, I've been indoctrinated by this system. And yes, there's some good things that I've learned in this system, but what I have not learned is about self. I have not learned some of the things that they have hidden from us, didn't teach us, or watered down teaching us. So you have to invest in the young, because if you don't invest in the young, and then when you invest in the young, for example, I've said this, and I think Sister Joy B. Watson and others have said that. I said Google, and I used Sister Soldier, because when Sister Soldier came on Phil Donahue, there was the Tony Browns in the audience. There was Dr. Cornel West, and these were scholars. And she shut them down. And she was a young person. She was a youth activist that shut their asses down. And even though they were doing stuff, she was like, that's not enough. You're doing stuff, but you're still assimilating, and you're starting to water down some of the things that you're doing. I applaud you, but don't look at that as that's part of it, but we got to go further. And that's why you teach the young, because what happens is when the young start coming up, then the old start looking and saying, they got heart. And then a lot of the old say, maybe I didn't do it, but I'm going to back them. And that's one of the ways of doing it. There's numerous ways of doing this, numerous ways. But you ask me specifically, that is one of the ways. Invest in the young, get people that understand, not bitter about the system, but understand what the system has done to us, but not bitter, but being able to say, you know what, we got to move forward. We got to articulate. We got to educate. We got to play things that Nelson Mandela, great people have done, not just here domestically, globally. We've had some strong leaders that don't think from a Western society. We got to think from a Western society. We got to think from an Eastern society. We got to think from a global society to understand the problem, because it's not just America. It's a global problem out here, especially against people of color.
I mean, I applaud you for saying that. I also was thinking about, and I think this conversation needs to be had. Many a times I don't think people weigh the cost of being a true community advocate, a person who fights for justice, a person who stands up and speaks truth to power. And I think, and I'm going to say this because, like I said, I had a great conversation last night with one of my daughters. And I think one of the things that folk really need to understand is there is a cost to this. There is a cost. And when you decide to stand up for what is right, you will be ridiculed by many a times your own. You will be ostracized by many a time your own. You are literally fighting against an adversary which is hell bent on destroying you. That's why, when you sometimes look at situations and circumstances, you ask yourself, man, why is it this bad? Why can't we, as a person yesterday in a conversation said to me, if we are the biggest consumers on this planet, or at least in this country, let's not say on this planet, if the African-American male and female are the biggest consumers in America, we put more dollars into this economy than anybody else, then why can't we make our dollars work for us in a positive manner? Why can't we spend it the right way? And I didn't have an answer to that. And I told the young person that asked me, I said, you know what? I don't have an answer to everything. All I can say is that through the life I've lived, I've made a lot of mistakes. And I personally wish there was some things I could go back and change. And now that I'm where I'm at, and I'm not at a bad place, but there's just so much that we need to work on within ourselves. And that's why I really try to leave them non-melanated folks out of it, because yesterday in these conversations I had, I realized that we really got to work on us. And we don't need nobody else from the outside working on us or influencing us. You know, a young lady yesterday said at a place I was at getting something done, she said, y'all problem is y'all in love with white Jesus. And I was like, ooh. And she said it loud. She said it loud. And there was a few pastors in there and they were like, well, sis, you know, it's a, you know, she said, no. And she kept them to the flame and said, no. She said, y'all didn't tell us the truth. Because she said it financially didn't benefit you at the time that you were preaching the gospel to tell us the truth, that Jesus was a black man. And I just sit there and was like, ooh. And she was with it. And you know, one of the pastors, when she left, said, well, she was kind of rude and disrespectful. I said, no, she wasn't. She was telling you the truth. I said, and sometimes we need to raise our hand and say the reason we are in the state we are in is because of what we did on our watch. And be honest about it, Brother Fatim.
So you asked the question. I can go into that white Jesus thing, but I'd rather deal with some pastors on that. Bring them on. Bring them on. I'll deal with them. But on you asked the question why about spending money, and that's where the question was, is that we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to do it, and then there's not outlets to do it like we had. For instance, and I have to say this, and it is what it is. If it was Louisiana, and I can still see black businesses in Louisiana, I don't know how many, but in New York, at one time, Harlem was black businesses. It's gentrified now. You come down into Clinton Hill, parts of Fort Greene, but I would say Clinton Hill, coming down, going towards Cadman Plaza, Grand Army Plaza, Vanderbilt Street, they were black businesses. And what they used to do is they would be a week of black shopping. And I never forget my colleague in this business who passed the baton on to us is Bob Law, who used to do night talk at WWRL 1600 AM. And his late wife, Sister Montu, they had a business. They had two stores. They had a store on DeKalb Avenue, if folks remember, and he had a store on Vanderbilt. And matter of fact, Reverend Sharpton used to go get his hair done at a black business on Vanderbilt. And what we used to do on that Saturday, and I remember Tawana Brawley, you remember that name? I remember her being with us that day. And we shopped at black businesses only. And that's what happened. It put into the community, it put into the business, and it also gave us pride. And we also received products from those black businesses. Now you go out there, what happens? We have these big box stores, Walmart, I just brought up yesterday, Rite Aid, now CVS, now Walgreens. These big box stores, Sam's, Costco, Walmart, puts all these mom and pops out of business. If you're in small other areas, certain smaller malls, the stores are disappearing. More people are doing business online. Is there a network, or do you know a network? Because Joe talks about businesses, black businesses, and he promoted when we first came on here. But I think we could step up that level in a sense of saying, let's network to see if there's a network out there that works with these black businesses, that promote it, that we don't have to go out there and do that. It's not that we don't want to do it, but if people are doing it, let's give them the credit. Let's join them and let's make this bigger, because if people are ordering online, why can't we promote? Because I do understand it's easier for somebody to knock on the door or leave a package there instead of you going out. But why can't we build up our own? So that's the problem. We don't know how to, we don't know where to go, and we don't have a lot of those businesses out there that we know of, because there are a lot of Black businesses out there that are doing the work, but you just don't know. So that's why I'm saying we just don't know, and we get caught up in the hustle and bustle that we just don't have the time to put in to research this or whatever. But we got to do better. And that's why I say you start teaching the young, because a lot of us older people are set in our ways and looking for things quick and fast. But the young people will take the time to invest and create logarithms that would point them in that direction.
Right. And Brother Fatim, you were so right on that. And many a times, this is a sad thing. And you were hitting the nail on the head. We have to have a means of getting our information to our people on a global scale. Not only on a local scale, a state scale, a national scale, but on a global scale. We've got to have something that literally tells you about, for example, what city do you live in Florence, in South Carolina? Florence, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we should have a website or an app or something that, should I decide to either visit, or let's say I'm passing through, let's say I'm just traveling and I'm passing through Florence, South Carolina, there should be an app I can click on and say, these are the Black businesses in Florence, South Carolina. These are the Black restaurants. These are the Black businesses. These are the places that I can patronize that are Black owned when I pass through Florence, South Carolina. And that should be the same way if you come to Lafayette, Louisiana. If you come to Lafayette, Louisiana, you shouldn't have to try to find Joe Dupree. I shouldn't have to try to find Brother Fatim. There should be a app or a website that says these are the Black restaurants that are Black owned. These are the Black businesses that you can patronize. Maybe I come through and maybe I say, hey, I need a suit. It would be lovely if I had a list of haberdasheries or businesses that were Black owned that sell suits. And then I wouldn't have to maybe stop at the big box store, because I have a way of knowing, where the Black businesses are, knowing where the Black restaurants are, where I wouldn't have to call Brother Fatim, or you don't have to call Joe Dupree. I don't have to call KC, Jessica Dewberry, Dre Watson, and say, hey, I'm in your town. Where's everything at? Or Michael Keith. And Brother Michael Keith, I saw a picture of you, man. Hey, you're looking good, my brother, looking good. I mean, and can we not get our minds together once again, not to only do this in these individual silos? Because you cannot tell me, I'm pretty sure somewhere out there, somebody has already created an app for a certain area, like in Atlanta.
Let me jump out there. Let me sorry to jump in there. So it is called, I already knew this because I've worked with this company before, and it's called the Black Renaissance Group. And the Black Renaissance Group, Google that. It's the Black Book, a search engine with over 1,200 Black-owned businesses filtered by location and industry. It's already out there. You see what I'm saying? Don't even know, right?
Right. So here's what I'm asking. But hold on. I know that there's one out there, but watch this. If you type in Lafayette, Louisiana, or Florence, South Carolina, type in and tell me how many businesses show up in Lafayette, Louisiana, or Florence, South Carolina. I'm saying they may have a great product that is good for a certain area. We need to make this area, not every place that Black folks are need to be included in this. That's what I'm saying. I know there's search engines, I know, but there's nothing that unifies us at one place. So if you type in Lafayette, Louisiana, tell me how many Black businesses shows up in the Renaissance Group. I'm curious.
Not a lot. Because what happens is you got a lot of these folks got to register, and they have to make it available. So a lot of people look at where demand is. So you're looking at some of the bigger places. For instance, New York City, of course, Los Angeles, right. Austin, Texas,
Chicago,
Charlotte,
Atlanta,
Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, San Francisco.
Houston, right.
So but it's a start, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
These are the
right.
starts. These are
Hey, I
the
applaud.
starts. There
Listen,
are
I
black
applaud them.
museums.
I applaud them.
Yeah, there are black museums out there. You know, there's black businesses that we don't invest in our children. Again, there's nothing wrong with going to Disney. There's nothing wrong with going to Universal, but why can't you go to a black museum as well? Why don't you put that on your tour list? During the holiday, why don't you do I mean, there's so many things that you can do, but a lot of times we don't have the money. And, you know, we have to figure out what we can do because we spend money. We have money. We just got to put it in the proper, put it in better use out there. And I just think it's about information, because a lot of times we complain about things, and people used to say, you complain about things and you don't even take the time to say, before I complain, let me look and see if it's out there. So that's number one. Let me get to this thing about this white Jesus, because one of the things that people used to say, oh, it doesn't matter what color Jesus was, right? Yes, it does. It does. And the reason why is because the lie that has been perpetuated globally in most religions, they had a white face out there. And that was because of keeping the black man and black woman in bondage, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. That's why it matters. Because once you tell the truth, those people that you want to keep under your foot realize that they never deserve to be under your foot. And then what happens is those that wanted their power and their prestige took that from them, killed them, maimed them, enslaved them, and then made us look like we were nothing. And once you know who you were and where you came from, and then once you find out where they came from, it changes the perspective of things. And that's why it's so important. That's why I say any minister that wants to come on, I'm saying here, any minister that wants to deal with that aspect, from that one to deal with that aspect from the saying is not important. And I welcome a minister that will say it's important. You know, that it is important to tell the truth, because the truth, it says in the Bible, you can't start quoting the Bible and say the truth will make you or set you free. You understand? And then you don't teach the truth. Don't give me that okie doke. It don't matter what color Jesus. Any religious person that comes in my house, I used to invite the Jehovah's Witness. You knock on my door and Soul Train wasn't on, yo, you can come on in. You understand? But you ain't interrupt the Soul Train. But anyway, on the serious side, we're talking.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah,
I'll drink to that.
But when you come up with that nonsense and it doesn't matter. Oh, it does matter, because it puts things in the proper perspective. And if we are going to live a life of truth, you can't talk about living a righteous life if you live a lie. Stop it.
And then, I saw that Brother Barnett said he'd like to know why pastors are preaching white Jesus.
Go to their church and look at the wall and you will know.
Right. So that's what the young lady said yesterday. And I wish I could recap that whole conversation exactly like it was said, because I hate paraphrasing. But when the pastor said that to her, he said, we don't preach white Jesus. She said, you don't preach black Jesus. She quickly, before he could even get it out of his mouth, she said, y'all not preaching black Jesus. He said, well, we preach Jesus. But she said, you don't preach the truth. She said, do you know what difference it would make to black and brown folks if you preach the truth? And he was like, well, he started stuttering, and I don't know who the young lady was. And they felt like once she walked out the area I was at, she was being very disrespectful. I didn't think that she was very disrespectful. I thought that what she said was the truth. And she just was simply letting folks know that, as you said, it's hard to make people buy into whatever you're trying to tell them when you're basing it on a lie. It's hard to make people trust you when the foundation that you built, whatever you built it on, is on a lie, because that's an unstable foundation. That's an untrue foundation. Let me switch gears right quick and throw this out here in other news right quick. in other news, you got Mark Cuban and you got Elon Musk out there on the stump for the prospective candidates. Somebody yesterday tore Elon Musk down because they made it crystal clear on how the conservative movement is so much against everything that Elon Musk is doing. They said, the conservative movement was the first one to talk about these electric cars is going to cause a problem. They said now all of a sudden, because Elon Musk has put his billions behind Trump, all of a sudden the things that they talked about isn't relevant anymore and they don't call him out on it. And they brought that up yesterday about, if you didn't know in the news, they're searching right now for a former Olympic snowboarder from out of Canada who is responsible for millions and billions of dollars of drugs coming into this country. Now, we're going to shut down the northern border. Hold on. Let me find my right sound effects. Just asking. Everything bad in the boogeyman can't be black folks in black neighborhoods.
I don't really got nothing to say. I mean, I'm not fooling around with these devils. I'm calling it what it is, Watch the movie The Devil's Advocate. Go watch the movie with Al Pacino, came out in 1997. Go understand how the devil works. That's it. I'm tired of telling you. Put them in the box where they fit, and that's their personality, that's their characteristics. So I don't have to get my blood pressure up on this Friday, the start of the weekend.
No,
these devils, Elon Musk, I ain't got time.
And I'm not trying to do that. Also, just the news to throw out there for those who haven't heard, in a targeted attack, it appears that the leader of Hamas, that was the orchestrator of the tragedy that happened in Israel, has now been killed, which world leaders, including our president, President Biden, is hoping that his death now will usher in, hopefully, a ceasefire and the releasing of any hostages that are still alive with the conflict that is going on over there. And there's still a conflict going on in Gaza, in Lebanon. And I want to say this, because I had the awesome opportunity to speak to the Grand Master of Lebanon. And I like to applaud this man, because this man went to Montenegro to meet with other Masonic leaders in our grand fraternity, Brother Fatim, not knowing that if he comes back, be exact, he was constantly, from what I was told, every hour checking on his family, hoping that he still had a house to come back to when he came back. A lot of folks don't know the duress that folks are under right now because of conflict and war that is going on. And praise God, praise the Most High, God, Allah, whatever you want to call them. I am so thankful that when I wake up in the morning, I don't walk outside with shells, with artillery shells dropping around me, with missiles and drone attacks coming up on me. Sometimes you got to be thankful for the little things of the peace and the prosperity that you're able to wake up. I'm able to wake up every morning and do this podcast, and I don't have to worry about my house being bombed. Sometimes we just got to be thankful for the little things. It is 42 minutes past the hour. And once again, this is where I'm going to switch it back to Brother Fatim. But early voting started today in Louisiana. Get out and vote. Brother Fatim, wherever you want to go, man. Let's go wherever you want to go.
You said something. Yeah, you said something about so the leader, the Hamas leader was killed. He was killed. That's proven. They already showed the pictures, the graphic pictures of it. He had his hand blown off. It was a precision drone, and once they realized it was him, they bombed that building, a hotel or wherever he was in. I don't know if that's going to usher in peace. I think that by killing him, Hezbollah has says that now they're going to use more precision type drones. So we'll see. This is war. This is not over because you kill one person about October 7th. It's not just about October 7th, what's going on over there. So it's just gonna just this is something that is going to continue because people over there is not being treated fairly, and the people that are ruling is ruling with a heavy hand. So that there. Also, you mentioned, and I know sometimes this gets into about am I right or wrong. I use the book that y'all use sometime, and I use too the Bible. I have numerous Bibles, King James Bible or whatever, and I have some others. But one of the things that he say is whatever you call the creator, it's not whatever you call the creator. It's what's his proper or name. God is not. God is not. Don't give me that. God is they never used the word God back then in those scriptures. Not back then. Elohim. These are words that's why I keep trying to tell you. Yeshua is Jesus or Isa or Yeshua. These are names that mean, I keep telling you, Fatin is a meaning. You name, Fatin, Fatin was a cool cat. So now we call him Cat. And now you call me Cat. It doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean the same. And you got to realize, right, words have power. Words are vibration. Right. And when you substitute or try to change words, you take away from it because there's certain letters in certain languages that just don't exist. Go back to when the Tower of Babel, and why did God confuse the languages? This is why you need to read. You need to read the Bible. If you're going to quote this Bible, understand this Bible. But don't start saying it doesn't matter what I know what you're saying, Joe. I know you're looking at it from whatever perspective religion
right. I wasn't trying to disrespect. I wasn't trying to disrespect nobody. That's where
that's why I said I know where you was coming from, but I'm taking it to the next level.
Yes, sir. Take it there.
Yeah, it's just that you got to understand linguistics, man. Understand the power of language, man. They have flipped and did us a dirty deed, y'all. They've done this world a dirty deed, and then they shove things down our throat, and then we are indoctrinated with it, and then we walk around like that's the right way, and it's not. It's not about Fatin being right. Just do your damn research. I saw somebody put up here, Google is my friend. Google ain't my friend. Because what they have done, and now Google's in trouble, is they monopolize where they have blocked other people and other search engines out there. You got to really go out there and do your research. A lot of stuff you can pull, but there's a lot of stuff that is out there, man. And I'm telling you, and now it's getting scarce. A lot of information was released before. It's harder to get now, folks. It's very harder to get. When you go to certain bookstores, they're not, like I said, I went to the Barnes & Noble on 14th Street in Union Square. That's a different type of Barnes & Noble than the Barnes & Noble in your mall. That's the research. The Schomburg on 135th and Lenox, across the street from Harlem Hospital. That's a research. That's a Black library, research library. Go there if you're in New York or the tri-state area up there. Visit the Schomburg when you go to New York. Just don't visit the Empire State Building and go down to the World Trade Center. Go up to Harlem. Go up to the Schomburg.
I'm telling you. You're saying a mouthful right here, and I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to give a round of applause. I'm going to sound the horn. Think about this, family. There are legislators out there right now who are banning books. The most banned African-American author, female, and I rise. Who is that? It's just, the name is eluding me right now, and it shouldn't.
Is it Toni Morrison? I'm guessing. I can find out real quick.
No. It's not Toni Morrison. Most folks guess that it was the lady who I rise. Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is the most banned Black author. Look at these legislators who are mostly. I don't think I can name too many liberal legislators who are banned books. But most of these conservative conservative legislators have banned books. They don't want these books in public spaces and public libraries. They don't want your history to be taught.
It's Toni Morrison. It's Toni Morrison. It's not Maya Angelou.
It is Toni Morrison.
It is Toni Morrison.
Okay, so it is Toni. I thought it was Maya Angelou.
No, because I remember that whole thing that came with the Beloved, the Bluest Eyes, Song of Solomon, and Sula. I remember those coming under attack. So it just says
she's the most
banned Black female author in the United States is Toni Morrison, a Nobel Prize winner writer known for her profound exploration of race, identity, and history in America. Her novels such as Beloved, The Bluest Eyes, Song of Solomon, and Sula have frequently faced challenges and bans in schools and libraries across the U.S. One of the key reasons for the frequent banning of Morrison works is the raw and honest portrayal of difficult themes like racism, sexual violence, and the trauma of slavery.
Well, you know, and it's incredible to me how, once again, let me take the if out. The facts are, the word says that the creator of all gave us a choice. And if he gave us a choice, how then can folks take that choice away from you? Like, for example, if there's 2 books on the shelf and one of the books I don't want to read, I choose then not to pick the book up and read it. But to say that I'm not even going to make this book available, and most of these books that are being banned are books about you and I, about Black and brown folks, from Black and brown folks, to elevate Black and brown folks. So why all of a sudden is what we're writing so offensive? And then when we try to talk about the history, the real history, as you say, Brother Fatim, I'm not trying to get nobody's blood pressure up. I'm just talking facts right now because early voting is today. And understand it's these legislators who put in these laws. You can't even right now, if you try to go to a school right now and talk about slavery, you can get escorted out of school because they say you're trying to talk, or you're trying to indoctrinate these kids with critical race theory. You're trying to tell them the truth about what happened back in slavery times or what happened during Jim Crow. They won't even let you teach Jim Crowism. You can't tell the truth because you might hurt somebody's feelings. You know, wait a minute. You don't think slavery hurts somebody's feelings? You don't think being a slave hurts somebody's feelings?
They don't care.
No,
they don't care. They don't care. That time don't exist no more. We need to move on. We need to turn the page on that. That doesn't matter now. That was then. Yeah, we knew that was then. It was bad, but now it's, we got to move forward. We can't indoctrinate and make our kids feel bad about that because they had nothing to do with that. That's what they say. And the same thing with the LGBTQ community. I'm not saying, again, if my daughters, again, they're grown now, but if they came in, high school and Daddy, I wanted to read this book and they had something to theme with that, I'm not shooting them down on that because it's about information and I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because because the way to teach is to inform. And that's how young people form their opinions. I know that we have to raise our children and we put our opinions on them when they're young. But if we're fair, then we let them have their open mind and explore, and we give them guidance so they don't hurt themselves. You understand what I'm saying? But if you don't want your child to read a book, is one thing, but to take it to legislation to ban these books when it's dealing with factual things, I have a problem with that. I know where Eddie Bonnet and I understand about, because I said I was on school leadership team and I voted against 2 mommies and 2 daddies. That was in elementary school. If I would have been on school leadership in high school, I possibly wouldn't have voted against that. But in elementary school, I didn't think that was, because now our children's minds are still very, very impressionable and certain things that they cannot quite grasp. And I think that it would be better as they go through life experiences, things like that. But as they got older, I broadened that reach. It's going to be things that I didn't, I didn't agree with my with Hanifa at my oldest being in 5th and the youngest in the 3rd grade putting a condom on a cucumber at first, but then I understood. I thought about it. You understand? This was not a dictatorship. I'm a parent. She's a parent. She's the mother. I'm the father. You understand? And, could I have overruled her? I don't know if I could have overruled her. And nor did I want to overrule her. We had a conversation. I was against it that when I first saw it, but I slept on it. And the next morning, I said, you're 100% right. You're right. Let them learn from us because we can control the narrative and tell it the correct way instead of them going out in the street. Because if you don't think them 3rd graders and 4th graders are talking about sex, you done lost your damn mind.
And that's a very good point, Brother Fatim. And like I said, once again, I'm only speaking and I'm not trying to get anybody's blood pressure up, but let's just speak truth to power right here. Most of the wealth, if not all the wealth in this country, was built off of slave labor. And that we do not speak about that. And most of us, if not all of us, are descendants and our ancestors were slaves here in this country. So the truth about the matter is it is a part of the fabric of this nation, and that folks don't want you to talk about it because they want you to move forward. So let me understand this. When I speak about reparations, and I speak about it often, I speak about it from the perspective of, I believe those reparations have been earned by the descendants of those who were done wrong by this system. We have never, even to this day, in many ways, though we feel that a lot of things have changed, and they have, still a lot of things are the same. You are still, if you are a highly educated African-American man or woman and you have locks, you are looked at kind of different during an interview. I know because I'm around folks who tell me, oh, I like her resume, but and I like her. She seems so well articulate, but why is her hair like that? Or why is his hair like that? Really? So your appearance in the style of hair you wear, now all of a sudden it's these new racial overtones when they say that because of affirmative action you're being prejudiced against white folks, and the propaganda machine got black folks believing that affirmative action has literally hampered white folks from getting certain things. Affirmative action was put in place because we were never given the same starting point at the race. If it was 100-yard race, we had to start at the beginning of the race, and they were ushered up to the 5-yard line. And we kept wondering how they win every time. Well, it's you. I don't care if you Usain Bolt. You can't be the person who only got to run 5 yards and you got to run the whole 100. I'm just saying, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up? And then once again, I started as you're looking. I'm looking. I'm over here on the side looking. I asked myself, how many? These are legislators, conservative legislators who have banned books, who have said certain things about black folks cannot be taught. And then we stand up here and say, these are the folks that we want to represent us, folks who literally don't even want your history to be told. I'm starting to get like Brother Martinez. If that's who you rock with, we'll rock with them. You ain't going to rock with me. Brother Fatim,
Douglas Guidry, we ain't rumble in a while, Douglas Guidry, so let's start the rumble here, baby. I ain't going to let KCB out there by herself. Douglas Guidry says,
what did he say? What did he say? Let me put it up. I want to make sure I put up.
Okay, man. Slavery is part of American history, but it shouldn't be oversaturated in schools. We have Black History Month and plenty schools erected towards Black leaders. Just my opinion. Casey said to Douglas Guidry, so teach white history 11 months and Black history 1 month. Douglas Guidry said, I'm not saying that, Casey. So here we go. My man, Douglas Guidry. I'm smiling today, boy. I tell you, United States was born when? In the sense of uniting the states, happened July 4th, 1776. So that makes the United States as United States 248 years old. But you know that these colonies existed on this land before that. Slavery. How long did slavery exist in this country? 1619 to 1865. 246 years. Oh, America's 248 years old as United States, but this land was here. 246 years of slavery. Jim Crow now, 88 years. Total 334 years. And you tell me, Douglas Guidry, don't oversaturate or talk about slavery? You done lost your cotton picking mind? But that's what I'm trying to say. It's not about us living in the past, but America needs to correct the wrong that they did. They never apologized. They never paid a reparations. So yes, we're going to oversaturate it and continue to oversaturate it, brother, because this country has been oversaturated with slavery, my brother. Okay? Let's do the math. The math don't lie, brother. Systemic racism still exists, my brother. Okay? Don't come with that, oh, we're going to oversaturate, because you want us to not make you uncomfortable and make your white friends uncomfortable, because some of us have made it and things have gotten better. Yes, but that don't mean we forget. And then you don't want us to tell our story.
Hold on. So let me address this one. Let me let you calm down for a second. We don't
want I'm cool today, brother. No, you gotta calm down shit. I'm done.
My brother. We don't want nobody's blood pressure to go up. So
our blood pressure ain't going up today. This is easy. This is kid stuff for me.
Brother Guidry replies with, do we ever talk about the many blacks that own slaves? So let me address that one, brother.
And that's the sidetrack. Don't fall for that.
No. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm only going to talk about it for a second. Yesterday, a prominent, and I'm not going to put nobody's name out there unless they can come on and defend themselves. A person who is in politics that black said it best. And I think we even said it, and I believe Brother Martinez said it. There are chosen melanated folks amongst us that are chosen by non-melanated folks. So I try to be polite, so let me get real. There are black folks that white folks choose to represent them and their agendas in everything, including in slavery. They were black folks that white folks said, you know what, old Jim over there, I can trust him. I can trust Jim because Jim really wants to be like me. And I can put Jim in a place where Jim can own a little property and he can run a couple of these black folks. Because Jim loved me more than he loved him. That's how a lot of us winded up owning slaves, because the white man allowed it. Now, of course, in Louisiana, and we can talk about it, there were some plantations that were, and if you look at the melanate, these, and I'm not sure, but I can probably look it up, and I probably would say that these are the blacks that, as they say down here in Louisiana, are passe blanc. These are black folks who are black folks, but they could pass for white folks who all of a sudden own slaves. You know, all that is the okie doke. The truth about it is this whole slavery system was introduced by the white Europeans and the white Americans here in this country. And the truth about it is black folks have never had an even handshake or a fair anything in this country without us having to fight for it. And that's sad.
So the vast majority, you know, I'm dealing with facts. That's why I said I'm cool today. Right. Okay. I'm cool. You ain't worry about my blood pressure. I'm fine. The vast majority of slaves.
That's why I was checking for you.
Yeah, I'm good today, baby. This is like taking candy from a kid. The vast majority of slave owners in the United States were white. That's what they'd say. When we talk about police brutality, then they want to throw in there, what about black on black crime? We ain't talking about black on black crime. But since you want to bring up how many black people own slaves, because that's what I always say, you distract. Because when we come at you and knock you on your backside, then all you can do is not say we're right. You distract. You try to change the conversation. But brother, we're ready for you today. The vast majority of slave owners in the United States were white. And while a small number of free black people did own slaves, the scale of black slave ownership was minuscule compared to white ownership. Don't even bring that shit up, Gidry. They're so minuscule. They exist, but it did not have an effect on this country. Those black people that were enslaved by those black people don't have influence on the system like white folks have on the system that created the systemic racism that we still exist today. So don't bring that up in this conversation because it doesn't fit.
So let me ask this question. And out of those black slave owners back then, how many of those black slave owners had white folks that were enslaved?
Probably not. I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I like what Jules said. Reverend Al Sharpton told us his mom would say, "Not today, devil." That's what I'm saying, Joe. That's why I don't play with them. I don't play with them, and it seems like I'm not upset today, but I don't play with them because I see them coming, and I see that they stand on shaky ground. They don't stand on substance, and they can't. I mean, Eddie Bonnet, we can really get into a conversation. Douglas, you're more than welcome to call. You understand what I'm saying? But when you put out crap like this, I'm just gonna rip it apart, bro. Because it doesn't do us and our community. If you're about coalition building, tell the truth. And it's not about oversaturating about slavery, but we didn't get it right, brother. This country has been wrong, been denying it, and never apologized for it. Never apologized and never paid for it. Never paid for it. We never got paid for the free labor that we built this country. Washington, look at all those monuments built in Washington. We did that. Black folks did that. We didn't get a dime for it. Are you calling for reparations or for even their families to get paid? So don't come with this okie doke about, oh, well, how many black people with black slave owners this was. See, that's not the conversation, bro. And it always takes one of us to be that token Negro to do shit like that. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 minutes. 6 minutes past the hour. And welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told, as we are broadcasting live on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube to all my, let me jump over to Instagram. Let me say what's up to all my Instagram people. And we got folks over there. Hey, good morning to y'all on the gram. We're having great conversation. It is the 18th day of October. It is the first day of early voting in the state of Louisiana. I believe that it was put in the chat that early voting in New York starts on the 25th of October. But listen, if you can go out there and early vote, I encourage that you do, because the actual voting day, November the 5th, that day will probably be chaos and bedlam at the polling places, and the lines will probably be humongously long. So, once again, your vote is your voice, and your voice has power. Get engaged, get involved, get registered, and go vote, because you need to say what you want to say and understand that, at the end of the day, you can at least say you did your part of the process. And but if you don't vote, don't complain. If you don't vote, don't complain. If you sit there on the side, if you sit there on the sidelines, don't say nothing. That's just what I got to say about it, in my opinion. If you don't vote, don't complain. Go ahead.
Pat Gabriel said, "Let's fight for inventions and engineering that black folks done into our schools." So my school, I didn't go to a black school. I went to a regular public school, junior high school. I went to PS 92 in Brooklyn. I went to IS 320 Jackie Robinson, right across the street from Ebbets Field. And I went to George Westinghouse, downtown Brooklyn. And we had, posters of black inventors. We did Black history back then. We did
the real McCoy.
McCoy. So we did this. Our station, when we was at 98.7 KISS FM and Trip, now at the news director at WBLS, She does a thing on Black inventors. She does it every year, a really well together program that airs during Black History Month. She did that on Black inventors. There's books out there on Black inventors. These are the things that you need to know. And it's great to get that kind of book and sit down with your children and read this, because your children will start to realize, oh, I go into the kitchen, when I go into the bathroom, when I go in to put the light on, oh, when I drive the car, the lights, the traffic lights.
When there's air conditioning in the house.
Exactly. So all these things of the Black inventors out there, and I agree with you, but this is what I'm trying to say. We were doing this. They were doing this before I even got into school. In New York City, with Ocean Hill, Brownsville, when they was fighting for the control of the school board, we got more Black teachers in. We got more Black history. Right now, there's a curriculum from K to 12 implemented. And I'm going to bring the brother on. I just talked to Dr. Shango Blake the other day. He helped usher this in with the past school chancellor, Brother David Banks, and the governor, white governor of New York State, ushered in a Black history program in New York State, not the city, the state. Those white counties got to learn Black history, not just Black History Month, K through 12. That's what I'm saying.
Brother Fatim, once again, if the fox is let loose in the hen house, and then the fox goes back to his place of residence, of course, the fox don't want the hens to come to him and say, Mr. Fox, you the reason we ain't got no eggs. You the reason a couple of my friends died. Because Mr. Fox would say, well, who let me loose in the hen house? So what I'm saying is, true enough, and you have been raised, you are a New Yorker, Brooklyn, New York, to your DNA bottom. But you know, sad thing is this stranglehold that's on the South. The stranglehold that's not only on the South, but the stranglehold that has not only left the South, but has permeated across this country, because there are more red states in this country than there are blue states. However, here's what you come to find out. The more populous centers in this country, where the hugest populations of folks are mostly blue or neutral. But sadly, and with this electoral college system that I don't see being tore down anytime soon.
It's not.
You know, because folk who understand that there is money and power in the positioning of politics, and until we have a clear understanding of how we can get ourselves, once again, in a power position that unified with our money in a manner that we speak to power and say, not today. Just imagine if every Black and brown person in the United States of America said, until you treat us right, we're not spending one dime with this system. How much power we would have. You saw what happened when dock workers said, okay, y'all don't want to treat us right, huh? Oh, y'all don't want to treat us right. Guess what? Ain't nothing moving off this dock. How long did that last?
Not long.
When they unified and said enough is enough. And
but who's trying to bust up those unions? Who? And see, that's why you got to get
right. That's talk.
Who's trying to bust up those unions? And see, those are the things in the process that people need to understand. People got to understand this, you know, as well about this. This is why I'm saying, you know, again, that's why I said when I take my vacation time, because when I come back, it's going to be with a vengeance, because I'm bringing on a lot of people on this show, politicians, activists, a lot of people out there to really have some strong and hard conversations to bring to you, our audience, because you really need to hear it from the horse's mouths out there, because sometimes y'all just don't think we talking and don't believe us. But you know what? You'll hear from the horse's mouth out there, and you'll see. And there's some Democrats. I'm not going to. That's why I keep saying, Joe, it's no way that I can have this conversation and not say that the Democrats got some shit with their ass, and they better get their shit together too.
Very true. But brother Fatim, what was that brother that you brought on, the pastor that worked with Nixon? What was his name again? He was
he's the Republican. Joe Watkins.
Pastor Watkins. Now, here's what I appreciated about Pastor Watkins. He never one time changed his values, spoke very articulately about where he stood in this situation, made it crystal clear. And let me see, do we have the lines up? Do I have my lines up? I may have them up, I may not, I'm not sure. I will be calling you back, Georgia. I will be calling you back. I promise I will. I just got to get these lines set up. I appreciate it.
You know I'm a laugh Joe on there.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just sometimes, look, man, I got 50 million. If you only could see how many buttons I'm pressing around here, and sometimes I have to restart stuff because some things don't connect correctly.
Send him a schematic via Chat GPT, y'all, so he'll have it together. I did a spreadsheet on Chat GPT the other day. I could not believe it. I did a spreadsheet.
You can do, it can do it can actually do an AI movie if you have the level, if you're paying for the proper level. Unfortunately, sometimes with my system, and it has to do with the Bluetooth, they bump heads with each other because I have more than one Bluetooth device going into one channel. So I just have to restart sometimes. So I apologize for that, y'all. But like I said, I really appreciated that brother because that brother was a conservative that could be my friend, that I could rock with, that I could talk to because he was right on it. And like he said, it's a difference between being a conservative and this cult called MAGA, this MAGA cult. It's conservatism and then it's the MAGA cult. And you cannot mix those two together, though they are co-entwined with each other right now. And guess what? Sadly, just ain't how I rock with it. Just not how I rock with it. That when you bring a man in here that has worked in politics, see, like myself, I've worked in politics. I've actually worked for a Republican in politics. Never changed my views on anything. And when we would have conversation, he would say, well, the party says this. I say, well, that's your party. That's not how I stand on it. So, early voting started today in Louisiana. I infer you go out and vote. Go vote, go vote, go vote. Because since January the 6th was deemed the day of love, what are we going to deem November the 6th, the day after this election? All right. See what we name it. What I'm talking about. All right, let me get this back up and running.
Call that person from Georgia back.
I am. As soon as I get myself, I gotta.
Excuse me, folks. I do a ton of things, moving forward. Sometimes I'm on my phone researching. Sometimes I'm texting, business and, because I got to do these shows and stuff like that. So
right. We have a life outside of this podcast. We both have. That's why sometimes you see me disappear because we have a life outside of this podcast. I'm telling you. So let me see. Can I get Georgia back on Georgia? Let me see. Can I get Georgia back on the line? Let's see. Are we up? Let me see. Are we? Come on. Yep, we up.
Good morning, people.
Good morning, family. I am so sorry I did not have things properly set up, but now we are back in the building. So welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. Question or comment, the floor is yours. Let's go.
Well, I want to compliment Brother Fatim and what he said about what Brother Gidry put in the chat earlier today. And I understand that everything this young man puts in there, I know he doesn't try to rile Brother Fatim up, but Brother Fatim is always on point in what he says because everything he says, I grew up believing that with all my heart. And this is why I support my beautiful brother from Brooklyn. And see, the thing is, I support you as well, Brother Joe, because you put out there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said that we all need to hear. And just like Brother Fatin said just a while ago, we need to stop following the okie doke and realize what is actually going on in this country. We need to stop that because it's hurting a lot of us Black folks. It's hurting a lot of us in general because we look at white face and that's all we see is white face. We don't see nobody Black. We don't see anybody brown. We're just looking outside everything that isn't us. And we don't even give ourselves credit when we need to. I've heard Brother Fatin say it all the time, even on Open Line Online. And I respect everything that young man alone says about what's been going on. And he's telling the truth. And so are you, Brother Joe. And I give you guys kudos for the platform you guys come out with, because guess what? That's why I'm on it. That's why I comment on it. That's why I compliment you guys, because y'all tell the truth. Hashtag truth be told.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
You
really
welcome.
do.
We love you, Laura. You know, I appreciate this, brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the folks in the chat, even the folks who sometimes do press our funny buttons, because it gives us the opportunity to say, this is why we created this podcast. We all don't see it the same, but can we talk about it and can we tell you our truth? My truth might not be your truth, but understand this. There are a lot of people who have suffered and suffered as I have suffered. We as Black folks have suffered way too much. And then you sit there and you think about the Emmett Tills. You think about the movie they made about the brother who tried to do the uprising. And sometimes I say to myself, man, some of y'all would be the one that went and told Master, they over there, they plotting and planning, they trying to take over.
Yeah, I know that. And see, that's basically what the South has always been like. And see, you know, I'm here in Atlanta, and you know, Atlanta tries their best to be so much like New York City. I say, you guys got a long way to go to try to be every bit like New York City, because we're so stuck in our ways down here in the South. We will never, ever in a long time make it past New York City or be anything like it, because down here, it's basically the South being always Republican, like you guys said earlier. So my thing is, as long as we got this kind of, as long as you guys got this kind of platform, Black people need to realize that. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you well.
Okay, good. I'm on the bus getting ready to go somewhere. So
you're on the MARTA.
Yeah. Yes, MARTA. Yeah. But like I said, we Black folks need to come out of the old days, but remember how we got here and try to pass on the baton to the next generation of our people. Not only what we've been through, but sometimes change the narrative, what we were brought up believing as we were, you know, young people ourselves. So that's all I have to say. And I thought I'd put that in there because I saw my brother getting so upset. I'm like, Brother Gidry needs to stop that. He really does.
Well, we thank you, Sister Laura. We love you. You be safe on your travels there in Atlanta on the MARTA. And thank you for being a part of this show and everything that we do. We got nothing but love for you.
I got nothing but love for you, my beautiful brothers.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You're welcome. Right. You too as well.
All right. Joe, I put in something here because I just think about, you know, and I'm not going to zero in on the Million Man March because the other day was the 29th anniversary, right? And I mentioned that on the show, but I just put in here just because I was there, but I remember when it just was a long day because when I was headed to the Million Man March, I had my wife at the time, Hanifa, with Fatia as a baby, and she was pregnant with Rakaya. My car broke down right at the Verrazano Bridge in Staten Island. I had to get my cousin to rent a car for me, and it's just a long time. So then I had to get to Washington, drop Hanifa and Fatia off. Then I had to go pick up my credentials. Then I had to meet Mtume. So by meeting Mtume is like, we're not going down there. That we're gonna watch some of these speeches on. Mtume said, I ain't gonna be in the sun all day. He said, I ain't gonna be in the sun all day. And he said, I'm waiting for a call anyway. So when the call came in, now I can say it came in from the nation. Okay, Minister Farrakhan, how long he's gonna be out before he comes out to speak. And Mtume said, let's roll. So we roll right up to the front, went right on in. They was expecting us. We got right on in. And, you know, and I put in here some of the politicians that spoke that day. And I remember that one thing about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he was his own man. He couldn't be bought. He couldn't be sold. You understand what I'm saying? He couldn't be tilted to not do this march, not to come in there. They had the money. They raised a lot of money, but they still had the money, but we worked. And I remember going to Bethany Baptist Church. My co-host, Jennifer Jones Austin, father was the pastor at Bethany Baptist Church, the late Reverend Augusta Jones. And I remember Reverend Johnny Ray Youngblood. Anybody know Reverend Johnny Ray Youngblood? He'll curse in the pulpit, brother. He'll curse in the pulpit. He didn't play. But they presented Minister Farrakhan with tough questions. What is our achievement? What is our goal? What is this? What is that? What is that? Because he worked with other community leaders, other religious leaders. This was not a Nation of Islam event. This was an event for us as Black people, Black men that need to get this correct. And I looked at just a couple. I know there's a lot of people that spoke, but I just put in the politicians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, Sr., Marion Barry, Representative Kwesi Mfume at the time, Congressman Charles Rangel from Harlem, you know, and of course, a whole host of other people that spoke. But there were some Black folks that were scared to go. And some were motivated in New York, because we talked about this on Open Line. I remember Bob Slade, when Bob Slade stayed back in New York, because I remember him tapping into Tavis Smiley, because Tavis Smiley wound up coming on Kiss FM that day with Bob Slade to do an interview. And people called in and said, we were on our way to work and we heard Mayor Giuliani, New York City Mayor Giuliani, tell us, a white man tell us, we shouldn't go down to the march. They said they turned around and hit the tunnel and headed down to that turnpike and headed to DC. Because at the end of the day, we got to do for self. You don't let other people tell you what to do. But then there's our people that were speaking out against the Million Man March, that were operatives for our adversaries. They want us to continue to do destructive behavior because it keeps them employed. Do you know how much money goes into these penitentiary institutions for food, wax the floors, the jobs? All this is a big business. It's a big business. So I just applaud those folks that participated at that. I even supported the Million Women's March, even though I supported it. I supported it. The energy was different. The energy was totally different. And any sister want to tell me it's just different, because I remember when I had to go through the crowd, and it just the different kind of feel, because it seemed part of it was put on not because of the sisters wanted to do it as sisterhood. It was a way some sisters looked at it, well, we were excluded from the Million Man March, so we're going to do our own march. And that was some of the energy, not all sisters, because I enjoyed myself. That's the first and only time that I met Winnie Mandela. You know, there, I worked with the New York coordinator, Connie, Sister Connie. Unfortunately, the week after my Hanifa passed, Connie passed. Young, beautiful sister. My wife, Hanifa used to say, that's your other woman. But my wife went down to her baby shower. Her and Connie got along so well, and I just love that about them. But coming out of that day, it was a beautiful day for our sisters as well, during the Million Woman March. And I applaud anybody that's trying to do something to uplift us. But those that try to tear us down and be on the other side, is nothing wrong with critiquing. But if you seem like you're trying to tear us down, then we just gonna step on you and get you and throw you out the way. We ain't gonna ask you. We ask you one time, get out of our way. Then we're gonna walk through you. That's all to it. We ain't got time to play, Joe. People are dying. This is not something to pussyfoot around with. And I don't have time to worry about people's feelings right now while people are dying and people are being led astray, brother. Sorry. Unmute your mic, bro. Still unmuted. Oh, there you go.
There you go. 29 minutes past the hour. Fatim, you said a mouthful. Once again, we're down now to the final days, the final stages of deciding who will be the leader of the most powerful country in the world. And to me, the choice is simple. There's nobody who's perfect on either side. But just like last night in the football competition between the Denver Broncos and the New Orleans Saints, there was a better team. The score at the end reflected that. And I believe just like neither one of those teams are perfect, but in the contest last night, there was a better team. I don't see either one of these candidates being perfect. However, I do see a better team. And so that's what I'm rocking with. Oh, wait a minute. So this is somebody calling from New York. I forgot I had to reboot the whole system because the system went down. Let me get in here and get this right. That's why I disappeared. System goes down every once in a while. Anything made by man in electronic will every once in a while have an issue. All right, New York, we're going to call you back, New York.
Well, all right now, let's go.
That's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to see who this is in New York City. In that city. All right, let's see. Can we get New York on here? New York, big city of dreams.
Happy
New York,
birthday.
who we got?
Hey, it's Jill. It's me. Hey, I said, let me call in. Can you hear me good, hon?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. It's a wonderful show. And once again, we have to take this voting thing seriously. Y'all gonna be distracted or any little thing like that. Focus on the prize. You understand? We have a lot on the table, and we all are fully aware of what could happen if we don't vote for you know who. Because
Kamala.
know what could happen.
Like I said, there's two teams. It's like the Broncos and the Saints last night. The better team is Team Kamala for me. I pray when the game is over and the score goes up, I pray that Team Kamala wins. I'm for Team Kamala.
All the way. So it's very important that we focus on that. And Brother Fatim, once again, you and Joe looking handsome with all the great expertise. This is important information at this pivotal time. It's very crucial that people tune in and share the show because people are busy with their regular days and the hustle and grind and everything. And, it's very important. Nobody really wants to sit down and watch the news, but you have to stay focused because these issues are concerning us. Everybody, all colors. You understand? All colors are involved with this here process. And it's crucial that we know who is speaking up and who is doing things to make our lives better. You understand? We have to make our lives better, not worse. You see what I'm saying? And also, it was good to hear Laura Bell this morning. I just want to agree with her and everything she says because she's one of our excellent prayer warriors. And it's very important that I express my thanks and appreciation for her calling in. And in fact, I'm standing on her shoulders when I found the courage for me to call in today, too. So with that being said, you guys have an excellent, safe weekend. God blessings upon all of us. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for calling in, Sister Jules. You have a blessed and wonderful weekend also. Family, the phone lines are open. They are wide open now. You want to call in? Give us a call, 225-250-8770. I'm actually getting myself settled in. You know, Brother Fatim, I'm actually in excruciating pain this morning. and I really didn't want to
You went
talk
to the
about
chiropractor and they did something wrong?
No.
Oh.
No. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday when I was getting off of duty and I was making my way back home going down I-49, I witnessed an accident where a vehicle flipped about 4 or 5 times. And I was blessed to be there on the scene. I couldn't go past the scene even though I was off duty. I pulled over and I helped get a young 17-year-old young man out his vehicle. Thank God the vehicle didn't catch on fire. Thank God that he was seatbelt. The vehicle was completely destroyed, but thank God we got him out the vehicle. And you know, the adrenaline running, and I had to park and run, and we had to try to clear some people out until law enforcement, because I literally witnessed the accident. And I kind of pulled some muscles because I wasn't concerned about anything else but getting that young man out, because I said to myself, that could have been my child in that vehicle, you know. And we were fortunate. We got him out. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't injured. Car was decimated. But and I'm a little sore this morning. I realized that when the adrenaline stopped pumping, you realize that you know, pulled something or did something you might not should have did. So, you know, but thank God. And with that being said, I just want to put that out there to folks. You know, things can happen in a twinkling of an eye. I was literally 4 cars behind this horrendous accident that happened yesterday around about close to 6 o'clock on I-49. So as people are out and about and traveling, be careful, pay attention to your surroundings. Don't text and drive. You know, I want to put that out there. You know, as people are going to go vote, pay attention to get to your polling place safe. You know, pay attention to your surroundings, because in a blink of the eye, things can happen, and all of a sudden, a good day can turn into a bad day real quick. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and commend you on that. You know, you still need to know your limits and limitations, but sometimes you gotta push in a little extra, because I know what that means. So glad that you was there, and glad that you got the young man out. The car didn't catch on fire there.
Yeah.
2 things I want to say. And the only reason why it caught my attention, I'll just do it now, is a happy early birthday to you, Jessica Dewberry. And what caught my attention, you said Sunday is your birthday, which is my father, even though my father has made his transition. The 20th of October was my father's birthday as well. So happy early birthday to you. And then to respond to your about sometime the delay, the late entries in the chat. You've seen it. Sometime what I do in the show, I'll come out of it and go back in and then update sometime, because sometimes the logarithm slows down or kind of get frozen. So sometimes it's just I just back out for a moment, then I come back in, and it usually updates and brings me up to speed where those you'll see the chats and it'll kind of update. So that's what I do to address that situation since you asked that question.
Yeah, so it is 37 minutes past the hour. And man, welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told, as we come to the final about the final part of the show, and I'm kind of getting myself ready for homecoming. Yeah, homecoming, y'all. And it's a lot of homecomings going on with a lot of HBCUs. Be exact, I need to Google that. Who's got homecoming this? Because there's a lot of HBCUs that's got their homecoming this weekend. I know it's Howard's homecoming. I know it's Grambling State's homecoming. There is a lot of homecomings going on. And once again, I will be exact, this Sunday, happy birthday, Miss Dewberry. And next week, Miss Dewberry, I'll be in your city. I'll be in Tallahassee. Tallahassee, Tallahassee is a beautiful city. I'll be in Tallahassee, Florida. And hopefully we'll get to see each other face to face before I get up out of Tallahassee. And FAMU's homecoming is the first week in November. All right, now go FAMU, go FAMU. So, hey, everybody out there, put a smile on your face, because no matter what comes out after these next few days, weeks, hours, minutes, seconds, everything gonna be all right. Everything gonna be all right.
I just shared something with you, Joe. I want to put this out here. This is not such a big topic. We kind of visit this topic months ago, but I want to put this out here because I want to put a different perspective out here on this. So I shared it with you. If you could share it, it's very quick. I think they take out the curse words. I think they kind of try to take them out, but you know, it's not bad. But it's short. It's very short. It's a black woman.
If they got it, they got it. It is what it is. You know, we grown folks here. Most of the folks on here grown.
Yeah, grown folks. That's going to a lot of grown comings this week. So.
All right, there's gonna be some grown coming. That's right. That part. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's go.
And that's just that.
So you going to Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah.
You going to Applebee's?
I'm going to Applebee's.
Chili's?
Chipotle? Yeah, wherever you want to go.
He going. See, that's what I'm
going
talking
wherever he going. I don't go if we go to the party. I'm gonna feel like I'm on the field day, like I'm with my nigga. That's all that matters.
See, this is what I'm talking
I ain't
about.
into all that other shit is just noise to me. Like if you with your nigga and y'all rocking and he want to go to the Cheesecake Factory, then I need to look up and see what I like on the Cheesecake Factory menu. I'm going wherever my nigga going, and that's just that.
We're gonna play that twice.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
You going to Applebee's?
I'm going to Applebee's.
Chili's?
Chipotle? Yeah, wherever you want to go.
he going. See, that's what I'm talking
going
about.
wherever he going. I don't go if we go to the party. I'm gonna feel like I'm on the field day, like I'm with my nigga. That's all that matters.
See, this is what I'm talking
I ain't into all that other shit is just noise to me. Like if you with your nigga and y'all rocking and he want to go to the Cheesecake Factory, then I need to look up and see what I like on the Cheesecake Factory menu.
So the reason why I asked Joe to play that and I shared that this morning is because some months ago there was this whole piece out there where this brother was taking his lady out, taking her out, and when he got to in front of the Cheesecake Factory, she was like, "Cheesecake Factory? Oh no, I'm not going to the Cheesecake Factory." So it created just this whole conversation about appreciation or taking someone out. Where would you take them out? Is there certain places you don't take a person out or whatever? So the reason why this was just so refreshing, and I'm starting to see more of these balanced type videos out here, because again, I'm not beating up on women, but let's deal with this for what it is, because this is the angle I'm going today. Okay,
bring it.
Is that there are some gold diggers out there? You understand? I know there's deadbeat guys. We ain't talking about that right now. There are some gold digger women, you know, and I send this to some of the younger females because I was talking to this young lady the other day and she was like, "Oh, this guy spent money, this, that, and the other." And I just listened to how she mentioned it. And I was like, is that all it's worth? You understand? But this woman is saying, yo, I got you. Wherever my man is going and he got me, we got each other. And when you got a queen, I said, this is queen/wife material. I don't know her whole persona. At the end of the day, I don't know this woman. And you can't just judge a book by a cover, but I'm telling you, a first impression is a lasting impression. First of all, she's an attractive woman. To me, she is. Number one. Number two, she's attractive from the words she says and the foundation that it seems like she comes from. So that right there, Jonathan's interest. And you even see the reaction from the brothers. You don't see them tensing up. Oh, this goes. You understand what I'm saying? So I see more of this now. I see this. They skits or they real, where the brother says, "Listen, I was only able to get you something to eat. I wasn't able to get me." The woman was like, "Oh no, we going back and get you a pizza because bottom line is I'm not eating this pizza alone. I'll share this pizza before I eat it because it's about us, not me. It's about us." So I wanted to share that this morning and compliment the women that understand this. Men too, but I'm talking about our sisters because we beat up on some of the sisters that rightfully need to be beaten up. Just like rightfully so, when we need to beat up on the men, we do. But I also want to applaud and uplift those women that really get it and understand that this is a partnership. No matter, I don't need to see it has to be a ring, or it has to be a marriage, or have to be a marriage license. If you're going to put into someone and build something, even if it's 3 months, 6 months, you investing in each other. And and when you have respect for yourself and you have respect for the other person, it takes you a long way. And when you put so much emphasis on materialistic things, then your foundation is not built on any structural thing that it can stand on. And Joe, I'll hear what you have to say on this.
I really ain't got nothing to say, man. That was you said it all. You know, let's see what they saying in the chat. KC said, was it Young Miami? I don't know who that young lady was. I really don't. You know, but what she said, you know, believe it or not, even though we see a lot of buffoonery, that's what I call it, buffoonery out on social media, there's a lot of good, wholesome folk out there. There's a lot of good women out there. There's a lot of good men out there. Don't let social media have you thinking that everybody all messed up, because they not. They not. Just like don't let social media have you thinking that folk are all twisted up and all. There are some folks out there that are real messed up. And guess what? Pray that when you see them, that you can just say, miss me with that, and keep it moving. There are men and women out there that will pimp the hell out your ass, that will take everything they can from you down to your last penny. And there are some good people out there, period.
Let me give a shout out to my sister girl who's been a guest on this show, Dominique McNeil McFarlane. I see her just joining in and watching. So what's up? What's up? Hey, Dominique. She said, hi, gentlemen. What's up, my sister? I want to comment on what Jewel put out here. She says, take turn with the chores. And see, this is interesting. I think that it comes down to what works in your relationship. You understand? So I give you an example. And now I'll speak from my point of view, is that my late wife, Hanifa, did certain things. She didn't go out to work. But everything that she could do, I could do. Maybe not as well, you know, but I could clean our house. I could, you know, I could do those things. I definitely wasn't a great cook like her. You understand what I'm saying? But when I went out to work, she handled the house. She handled the girls while she's home. But when I came home, I pick them up after school. If I have to go to the school meetings, unless she wanted to do that in the afternoon, we communicated on what we was going to do. We knew our roles. And then when she got sick, even if she wasn't hospitalized, I picked up the slack. When she was hospitalized, I became mommy and daddy. I was not great at braiding hair. So we had 2 doors down. We had the sisters. My sister Verlinda would braid our daughter's hair. Nothing went missing for them while she was not there. I picked up the slack in the house. When Hanifa came home, she didn't have to come home to a sink full of dishes, the house not clean, the linen on the bed not. Matter of fact, most of the times how we got so many new comforter sets, because when she came home, I bought a bed and bag all the time. And I would go to Macy's to get that for her. So when she came out of that hospital, she got in that bed coming from that hospital to get that really good night's sleep. She got into basically new sheets and a new comforter. And so we understood our roles. So we didn't just say, we just going to switch off on our chores. It was not, and I hate to use the word chore because that's not what life is about when you're doing family. It's not chores. Chores, that's for kids. We live in life now. So I don't look at it like that switching off. It depends. It just should not be so one-sided that everything is on one person. You understand? This is something that we're doing as an equal partnership. Once in a while, some is going to do more than the other. When she was hospitalized, I did much more. I didn't sit there and count that up. When she came home out the hospital, I just didn't drop. We worked together till she was like, all right, Fatine, I got the kitchen. You ain't got to come in here no more. I got this. You understand what I'm saying? She got that. But that's what I'm saying. It's a mutual partnership, and you got to have a working relationship. Every relationship doesn't work. My blueprint don't work for Joe. Joe blueprint don't work for everybody else out there. But there should be some type of blueprint out there that makes that a working relationship. You understand?
That's real talk, man. That was from the soul, that you have to know what works for you. We need to adapt that in more than just relationships. We got to adapt that into how we raise our families. We got to adapt that into how we deal with one another as brothers and sisters. I'm just tired, so tired of us being so mad and angry at each other, and we got to cut out the buffoonery. Sometimes we got to look at ourselves and say, I'm doing what I got to do for my family, and be real about it. Do you want to be, as one person told me a long time ago, do you want to be paid or do you want to be popular? Do you want to be paid or do you want to be popular? You can wind up not being popular and being paid, and you can wind up being popular and you can be paid and never be popular. People won't know your name. Or you can be popular, everybody know your name, and you be broke as a joke. Find that sweet spot that's for you, and understand that's your sweet spot. And everybody ain't gonna see it your way. But at the same time, as Brother Fatim says, and I got to go back here because I think this was the building block of this whole podcast today. Just because it's working for you, don't make it work for you at the cost of selling us out. Because if you do that, you're wrong. And if you do that and we know you're doing it, we're going to call you out. And we're going to tell you, you're out for your own personal comfort when that wasn't necessary.
Right.
That wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary. And you can't be mad when we call you out. Go ahead, brother. Hit them comments.
Jessica Dewberry, she make me laugh on this one. So she says, some of us were raised to be old-fashioned with the man paying for the date. And some of us were raised to try to get all that they can get from a man. When I'm dating a man in the beginning, I like for him to pay for the dates. And once the relationship is serious, I wouldn't mind paying for some dates. I also wouldn't mind going to some less expensive places to eat. Many of us who live or lived in New York City went to City Island. It's up in the boogie down the Bronx, and went all the way to the end of the street for the cheap eats, and it was fine. The company is more important. And I laugh because I remember us getting up there, going up to Sammy's at City Island. This is what's happening, Sister Jessica Dewberry. And, my family's from the South, and I understand about Southern hospitality, and I understand about a man being a gentleman, because that's how I was raised as well. But if you're raised, you got to be careful. You're raised old fashioned, but then you want to, some, not you, I'm just saying, some want to add in the new modern stuff when it's convenient for them. Because if you are raised old fashioned, what if that brother's raised old fashioned and he expects certain things that's like back in the day? So that's why I said it comes down to communication. I just believe in communication. If you got to realize, in my 20s, I'm not who I am today. I mean, back then I wasn't who I was there that I am today. But back then, usually if I offered to take out a female, I paid. I've also offered to take out some women where we sat down and they offered. It just happened in February. My friend Val, who's an airline stewardess, came down to Florence because she works out of Charlotte. She had a layover. So she came down and treat me out for my birthday. My birthday is February 12th, hers is the 13th. So when she went to go to the bathroom, I paid the bill. I got this. This is her birthday too. So when she came back to the table, she got a little upset. She got upset. Well, Fatina, I said I was going to do this. And I was like, no, I'm not going to have you drive from Charlotte, come here and pay. That's crazy. So I try to do the gentleman things. But now some women feel obligated. It's some women that I've taken out or offered, and they was like, you got this one, I got this. You got the movie, I got dinner. You understand? So it depends on where and how you move and how you communicate. I'm a gentleman. I try to be the gentleman and do what needs to be done. But sometimes us gentlemen may be tight because we're being responsible, and you want to get together, and the female be like, yo, I like your company. Yo, I got this. You tight today? I got this. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you old fashioned, then you stay at home because you're not willing to pay for something where this brother may have paid his car note, his insurance, may have helped out his children or whatever, and you want to go out, but you old fashioned, you don't want to pay for it, but you would have a good time. Why not pay for it, especially if the man is a responsible brother? That's why I'm saying we got to be careful of being caught up in our old ways.
Man, you said a mouthful. You said a mouthful, brother. A mouthful. A big mouthful. So, it is 7 minutes, 7 minutes to the top of the hour as we get ready to close out this episode of Hashtag Truth Be Told, as the weekend gets ready to be a weekend like no other. Brother Fatim, give me some closing remarks, man. Let's get ready to get
anybody going to homecoming and going out there, don't get so intoxicated that you don't know what you're doing. Be safe out there. Travel safe, whatever you do. Be safe at what you do. And I tell people, there's a way to indulge in certain things without overdoing it. I just don't understand. I think I've been drunk, once, twice. I got drunk in college. I got drunk in my house where my mother had to put me into bed in my house because I drank some wine, me and my cousins, and I was like 17. So I wasn't supposed to drink it, but my mother, my father was in the hospital and I was doing his job and dealing with school and stuff like that. We were in the house and I was with my two older cousins. So she just put me in the bed and laughed at it, but we always had a conversation about alcohol. I just still don't understand why some people indulge to the point that they're so intoxicated till they get themselves sick or they stupid drunk. And I don't understand that. And I never will understand it. I will never understand. And then you continue to do it over and over and over. That's stupidity. That's not an opinion. That's a factual thing. Why would you continue to do something that harms yourself? But anyway, whatever you do out there, be safe, be careful. Like Joe said, watch your surroundings, and you don't have to drink and something can happen because it could be the next man, it could be the next woman. So always stay on your P's and Q's. You never know. That's why I'm saying always have your reactionaries there. I always said, Joe, like this. I never wanted to go to a club in Manhattan or wherever I party and get into a fight or a scuffle and I'm intoxicated and I can't fight or I can't run and I can't protect myself. So that's why I just leave all that stuff alone. And if I'm going to go out, I just enjoy myself. So whatever you do this weekend, just be safe. Try to enjoy yourself. Again, happy birthday to all those celebrating birthdays starting today and over through the weekend. And again, just be safe. And I'll leave you with that. All right.
That's why I'm talking about my brother Fatim. Listen, family, we'll be back for Make It Happen Monday. The countdown is on. The countdown is on. We literally in the last few days and weeks to this election cycle being over. Unless I'm tired, I'm ready for it to be over. So let me say the following. Early voting in Louisiana, go vote, go vote, go vote. Be better today than you were yesterday, and do something today to be a blessing to someone somewhere, that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, there's no earthly way they could ever pay you back. And always remember that there is no secret, absolutely no secret, what God can do, what he has done for others. He will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a great weekend. All that good stuff. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. Keep your eyes on your surroundings. And remember this. If you're going to homecoming, that's better known as grown coming, remember, what you do now matters later. To all my married brothers and sisters, if your wife or your husband ain't with you, just remember, you do got to come back home.
Yeah. Hey, Joe.
That's all I got to say.
Joe, bring me back on the screen for a minute.
Let me bring both of us back. Let's go. Come on. What you got to say, brother?
So I didn't see this, so I'm glad I saw this. So let me just read this comment, and then I have to say this. And I happen to see KC's response, and I had to go back and find it. So Eddie Bonnet says, time to get to work, family. Keep my son in prayers. Had another seizure yesterday, and one of the hardest things about being a parent is seeing your kid hurting, but you are powerless to help them. And when I just saw that, brother, I had to stop and come back.
We had
offer prayers to you, Eddie
I found
Bonnet.
the comment. I didn't know it was there.
Yeah, I didn't know, but I happened to see KC saying something, and I know KC responded to him. But just to you, brother Eddie, sometimes we go hard, and that's how we do on this show, but we have nothing but love and respect. And of course, when these things hit here, There's no division. There's no Republican. There's no Democrat. There's no conservative.
Right.
There's no liberal. It's just about us as
Right.
human beings, being about brothers.
Human.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, and I'm praying for you, your wife, but especially your son that suffered this seizure, my brother. We are there. We pray. You put out prayers on a daily basis. You believe in the Almighty, and you know, and our prayers are there with you. And we're pulling for your son, and we're pulling for you, give you strength as you deal with this situation here. And things, I pray, will continue to move in the right direction, my brother.
Amen. Amen. You have our prayers, Brother Eddie. You have our support. Brother, if you ever need to call or talk to either one of us, you know the number. You know, we keep you uplifted before the Most High, man, that his will be done and that healing manifest in your son's body, man. And not only that healing comes forth over your whole family, because when one of us is sick, we all sick. So with that being said, family, we up out of here. Y'all be blessed. Y'all enjoy your day. From Brother Fatim at WBLS 107.5 in New York City, the Open Line Online, and Keeping It Real with Val Sharpton, and yours truly from 100 BLK, the Black Station, and our other co-host, Sister Jax, who will be back with us shortly. You know her, she's the author, the life strategist, the speaker, all that good stuff. We up out of here. Hashtag Truth Be Told. Y'all be blessed. Peace.
Bumper to bumper, like LA in traffic. I write the lyrics, she made the captions. Who gon' direct you with all them theatrics? But of course, ain't that the way it's supposed to be? Supposed to be, it's supposed to be. Here with me, here with me, yeah. Cause you're here with me. Wait. Like New York in traffic, I make the features and do all the casting. Who gon' direct me with all these theatrics? But of course, go ahead and roll one, ain't gotta pass it. I play the role, but this ain't no acting. This show is over, but we can't be canceled. But of course, ain't that the way it's supposed to be? Supposed to be, supposed to be, it's supposed to be. Here with me, here with me, cause you're here with me. Give me more than sex, yeah, I need to connect. Don't wanna wake up in the morning feeling sad and regretful. Don't wanna press, but when it's such, want you to make me feel special. But of course,